What's up, everybody? Back here for episode 70 of the Pitside podcast. It's going to be just Roger and I tonight, but we've got lots of great details on our upcoming charity event. So if you stay tuned, we'll get started in just a minute.
Welcome to the Pitside podcast, where we discuss the latest news and developments in the Coast to Coast Racing League, as well as other racing news inside and out of iRacing. Here's your host, the Outlaw, Preston Cranmer, and Roger, the Bassman, Craig.
Yep, so we're back. Like I said, episode 70. It's just hitting me now that this would have been a good week to bring my dad on. Just being the right number. Maybe we should try to do that here more often and just correspond drivers with episodes. Make scheduling really easy.
It would, yeah.
So obviously,
you blew that one.
Yeah, I did, but that's okay. Dad's internet, I don't know if it would even pull them on here. So I see you don't have your green screen tonight, so you must not be at home.
No, so we've been away for a week of just chillaxing, man. We're up at a timeshare cottage about 3 hours north of my place, and weather's been not bad. It's been like 50s and 60s, a little bit windy in that, but no activity on the lake. Just watching the ice recede every day a little bit more. But it's been an awesome week just to get away and do nothing. Fortunately, I have just looking at it over here. I have the broadcast on every night just so I can keep an eye on things. This is Thursday night, and the Pro Lates just finished up. They're on the podium right now. The interesting thing about tonight was Marty's been doing a fall-off count, and it got up to 36 for the three races. So 36 guys went off the track at Lernerville. So it was that was sort of a sidebar to the whole night, but some really good racing.
Yeah. It's obviously reminiscent of the flip count at the Chili Bowl, and I like that.
Exactly.
I think we should keep that up. That's a pretty cool stat to keep. So now we'll have to keep records too. So across three races, we had 36 tonight. So next time we can compare against that.
Yeah, well, and when we get back to Lernerville, but
for sure.
Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, but it's been great. I've been, like I say, we were just chilling out, and I've been catching the broadcasts every night and keeping up with the race. That's the great thing is, racing's on, 5 nights a week. So.
It is very true. So I have to ask, is that the place you go when you typically go fishing, or is this a different lake?
No, this is a place. It's really hard to score in the summer. I had a Facebook post. It's a spectacular place, and we get it. Usually we get it once a year, twice a year, but it's usually like the off seasons. One time I got it in the summer. The fishing here is great, so I could send you some great pictures of Lynn holding up I don't know. It's probably the best 4 hours of fishing I've ever had out here. I can see the spot out the window, so it's cool. I fished. When I worked at Bass Pro, we had our own tournament series, and I think I won here once and finished second here once. So it's it's been a very good lake to me. So
I'm assuming you're fishing for bass.
Yeah. So it's a great bass lake, but there's muskie out there. I probably lost the biggest muskie I ever had on just out here in the fall one year, and there's good pickerel fishing as well. So it's smallmouth, largemouth.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because we have smallmouth, largemouth here, and that's if you're pond fishing, that's what you're fishing for typically. Other than you may be crappie or something, but I don't know how far north you have to go before you start getting muskie, but we don't get those down around here. Or I didn't even recognize the other one you mentioned, pickerel.
Well, walleye. Sorry. So
okay.
Canadians call it pickerel, walleye. So and then
this is like the ham bacon thing, I guess.
Yeah. And then there's pike out here.
Those are the worst.
It's hammer handle stuff, Well, there's some bigger pike, but yeah. Anyways, the interesting thing was this year we went for a walk down along the shoreline, and there's a big beaver lodge there, and I'm thinking this ain't gonna go well. There's some beautiful trees down by the water that have been taken down, so I'm not sure how that'll go.
So I'm going to tell a quick sidebar story, and then we can get to our podium stuff. But years ago, it was Memorial Day weekend. So my parents live on a pond as well. It's where I learned to bass fish and all that too. We'd get pike, and we hated them because they'd eat the bass eggs, and it was not very well stocked. But anyway, So they ended up with the beaver, and Mom had this weeping willow tree that was growing right on the edge of the pond, and the beaver chewed it down, pissed. And then he started taking down other trees. So it's Memorial Day weekend. Everybody's over for a cookout. All the other houses on the pond are having cookouts. And they're on the opposite side of the pond. It's one big piece of property with the house at the other end. So there's a big long stretch of nothing there. And we're sitting there eating lunch, and Dad spots the beaver over on the other side. So he goes in the house and gets his .22, climbs the fence, goes over there. Beaver doesn't get scared, lined it up, killed it on the spot. And right about that time, from about 3 houses down, where there's another cookout going on, you hear a lady shriek at the top of her lungs and said, "Oh God, he killed the beaver!" And like it was just this huge thing. And Dad took off running, and because you can't kill beavers anyway. Oh yeah, wild story.
No, exactly. This is the same guy that got in trouble when you guys when the Can-Am racing team was down at Eldora, and he got crap for releasing the what was it,
a groundhog? Yeah,
the groundhog. So he's gone to both extremes. Right?
Yeah, I guess we can tell that story now that nothing came of that. But obviously, we went to Eldora last year for the 4 Crown, and the first night we were there, we were just kind of checking out the cabin. It was beautiful, and Dad was walking around outside, and right beside the back porch is a trap with the fattest groundhog I've ever seen. And so Dad was like, well, let's just let it free. Like, let's set it loose and it'll go away, assuming they were trying to trap something else. And so there's a video. It took us a little while to get the thing free. And it finally waddles off. We had a laugh and didn't think anything of it. Go to bed, get up the next day, go play around the golf before we go to the track. And I think we were probably about hole 10. And Joe gets a call. Who they had booked it. It was an Airbnb, I should mention that. And the homeowner was on the phone furious because he had paid someone out to come out and trap his groundhog, and because it was chewing up all the lattice under his porch. And Dad set it loose, and we were pretty sure we were going to get kicked out and weren't going to make any of the races. That didn't happen. But the rest of the weekend with the homeowners wasn't great. Like they nitpicked us for quite a bit.
Your dad can't win either way.
No, he's not. He's not making any friends with PETA. I'll say that. Well, I guess maybe with the groundhog, but it just not animals don't do well together, I guess.
Well, another interesting sidebar before we move on is my stepson Dion, Malcolm's Mills mill writing. One of his many career things he's had is he was a trapper for a while, and he trapped. You go all the farms like animal control and trap beaver and all sorts of other things. So anyways, yeah, so that's interesting. Well, so I don't know what they'll do here, but I'm sure there's going to be 2 extremes in the, all the cottage owners here will be up in arms or whatever, but yeah, it's been entertainment. Go down by the docks and watch the beaver. It's unbelievable what they built. So pretty cool.
Yeah, so let's dig into our podium now. I will say typically our podium are going to be 3 things from our league, but we did want to talk about the third step on the podium, we'll call it. We wanted to make sure everybody was aware. We know there's been some stuff going on with registration. I'm going to let Roger get into that in just a minute. But we wanted to mention, if you did not know, and I've seen it posted in several places, but iRacing has removed the ability to register for sessions through the member site. So you are going to have to use the UI. I know most people have probably switched to the UI by now, but I know there's a handful of guys that still use the member site, which frankly, I wouldn't have a problem with them making this change because they've always been going that way. But as you mentioned to me before we started, that's been a very convenient workaround when we do have registration issues through the UI, which my belief is that those haven't entirely gone away yet.
No, and I thought they'd gone away. It's cost it's $1 here, $1 there, but it's probably happened tons of 50 times we've had issues with iRacing screwing up. But while I was up here today, I forget who it was. Somebody couldn't get in a session. Same damn thing, and the answer I gave him was go in through the website because sometimes that'll work. So Bill Calder, I think he sent a message. I'm trying to remember the details. but I think it was he said just log out of the whole session, get out of everything, close everything down, and start back up. And sometimes you can get in there, but like this is totally unacceptable. Like iRacing, this is my soapbox. You've probably heard it before, but they build the best damn simulation software anywhere, but they can't build an interface for if their life depended on it. And they're treating it as production, and it's still beta in my mind. Like stuff doesn't work right. I've had problems, creating sessions. Like we're talking like you create a heat race. There's like I set it all down in a spreadsheet. There's like 100 things you got to check off.
Yeah.
Or like check, and then sometimes it doesn't take, and I don't even want to go there. Like you'll get me all riled up. But just iRacing needs to get their act together. So if they're taking away the website, they better damn well have the UI side running flawlessly. I don't for the life of me, I don't understand why they can't build an interface. I'm beyond it.
Yeah, it just from being involved in software development in the past, to me it seems like just a lack of bug testing. That it seems like they get it together and polish off the big functions, but there's all these little intricacies that they miss, and that's what it seems like to me. But assuming someone from iRacing is going to hear that you're upset and watch the podcast this week. Excuse me. For me personally, and I'm going to apologize now. I've had my allergies have been terrible, so I'll probably cough a couple times throughout. But for me, what they need to do for league owners, if you have a league, you need to be able to upload a CSV or an Excel of your season. They give you the columns, a template to fill out, and you put the values that they require in those templates, and then just upload them, and then and have it create all the sessions. It'd be easier. Compared to what they're doing now, it'd be easier on us and it'd be easier on them. There'd be a whole lot less chance of mistakes, and it'd be easy to bulk update things if they needed to make it that way. So,
well, I worked in IT for 20 years, and I worked with some gifted people. It's kind of like racing, like I'm in the league, but I'm not. I'm at the back, but as long as you know the right people to talk to, and we had gifted people, and like they could do this in a heartbeat. So like, I don't understand what's going on, but. Anyways, let's move on.
For sure. So
yeah, that gets my hair stand up on the back of my neck. That stuff.
Well, and that's the thing. For me, it's not like they have a bug and then they work it out and then it's smooth sailing for a little while. They have a bug, they work it out, and when they work it out, they introduce a new one or they neglect to fix one that's already been there. And I think the dirt side, because of the heat racing, is a little bit more complex, and it definitely gets less attention. And I've just remembered one of the things that I wanted to mention is that iRacing announced this past week they've partnered with another company and are going to be releasing a World of Outlaws console game, I believe, on Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is interesting to me. I certainly hope they don't try to do crossplay where people on a console can play against people on PC, because you're going to get different levels of how people take it seriously, I think. But it does concern me a little bit with the lack of attention that the dirt stuff gets compared to everything else, and now they're going to have a console game with, you guessed it, bugs to fix. Are we looking at a potential, are they just going to go dark on the dirt stuff? So, it's maybe time to start paying a little bit more attention to racing dirt and things like that, just to be aware, because it's not real clear right now where their path is heading as far as the PC dirt sim racing stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's great if they can make all this work and they pour tons of resources, but if they're going to stretch the current resources to try to do 2 platforms now instead of 1, wow, it's service is not going to be good. So
yeah, and of course it could be a situation where they're they're partnering with this other developer and they're going to do the development and they just lend the engine and things like that to the developer, and that would be a very different situation, obviously. Yeah. But it's none of that's been released yet, so it's not exactly clear how that's going to go.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that goes in the next little while.
For sure. So you want to bring in the next step of our podium? It seems a little conceited for me to do it.
I'm trying to remember what the second one was.
Well, so I'll go ahead and bring it in. I'm going kart racing again this
Oh,
weekend.
right.
If
Yeah,
you're
of
watching
course.
this on Sunday, obviously I went racing yesterday. So I'm sure I can tell you it was a resounding success. I don't know if I won, but I was probably close. But yeah, it's been it's been I guess 3 weeks since I last took the track, and obviously I think I mentioned on the podcast that we had some fuel flow issues.
Yep.
So in a Predator class, everybody, you have the option to run the tank. It's a box stock class. You are allowed to run a remote mounted tank if you want, which just sits between your feet or between your knees. Or you can run the one that comes on the top of the tank. So we had some trouble, basically determined that the tank, even though we'd vented the cap, just it wasn't venting correctly. So I spent the last 2 weeks getting things straight. Had to get some new sprockets because I was running way too much gear. So I've got the Terry Landis gear in the cart now, so it should be good to go there. And we remote mounted the tank, and I'll tell you, this has been a major learning experience for me, and part of the reason I've enjoyed it so much. So that's if I'm doing this at the beginning of next season, it's gonna piss me off a whole lot more. But I knew going in that there was going to be things that were not quite right, and you got to get them figured out. So the remote mount fuel tank it was a lot simpler than I thought. I had bought the parts to do this when I got the cart, but wasn't exactly sure where lines ran and things like that. So I skipped it for the first week, and then had the fuel issues. So I figured it's time to do it. So it's pretty interesting. It's a little it's almost circular. It's called a pulse pump, and you know what? It could be that everybody watching knows what this is, but before kart racing, I wasn't familiar with this. So it's got 3 ports, one for the fuel in, one for a fuel out, and then there's a pulse line. So what we did was drilled a hole in the top of the valve cover, and you just put a nipple in there, run a hose from there to the pulse line on the fuel pump, and so when the piston goes down, it creates pressure differential, which then activates fuel pump, pulls the fuel right through. So I got that fired up yesterday, which is way closer than I wanted to cut it, but got it fired up yesterday. Had a couple of things to tweak, and then about 10 minutes ago, it's 10 o'clock on Thursday, but about 10, 15 minutes ago, finally got that straightened out and fired it up, ran perfect. Got to adjust the governor a little bit, but we're looking a lot better going in this week. Not going to be doing things at the track when we get there, so I'm pretty excited. It's I'm kind of considering this my first race because I don't have the option of getting practice time, and I don't have anywhere to go, and that's another a little makes you a little nervous even going in this week because I haven't put the cart on the ground to go because I can't do it through the backyard. It's too bumpy, and don't want to do it on the asphalt because there go my tires. So it's it's a bit of a gamble, but I think we'll be good.
Oh, that's so. Will you be racing every week? After that, is it scheduled every week? Or?
No, they average about two events a month. They get spaced out, around holidays and stuff, and that's always been, at least the local track here. I don't know about other tracks if they're racing every single week, but they try to keep in mind that most people down there, they're there as a hobby. At least, a majority of the classes. The pro class is a little different, but. So they don't want to eat up every weekend because they know it'd kill their car counts. So it keeps car counts up. So we'll race on the 9th, which is Saturday, obviously, and then I think the next race is until April 30th, and with Easter falling in this month and everything. And this week was spring break, so they were putting it at the end of spring break rather at the beginning. So there are a few months coming up where they'll have 3 races, and then I think November either has 3 or 4, but that's because they have a big money non-points race called the Gobbler that they put on every year. So we'll be racing more towards the end of the year than we are right now.
Well, we'll be looking forward to the report next week on the results, and should be it's going to be an interesting season to follow. I was kind of thinking just in comparison, we've had 2 broadcasters who started at Ground Zero this year, and if you can improve as much as they have, you'll be winning a few features, buddy.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I don't know that the the competition is there with the broadcasters, so there's a mitigating factor there, but we're definitely going to give everything we got, and I think we'll see where we are this week. That was the thing last time we were there. Didn't really know how competitive we were, so I need to get some full speed laps in and just see. But if I'm at the back of the pack this week, you just come back, regroup, and figure out what to do better on the 30th.
Continuous improvement, man.
Exactly. That's all it's about.
Yep.
And luckily my sponsors are like all very understanding. I know them all in some shape or fashion. It's why I approached them, and I think the reason they were so willing to support me with I didn't even have the cart together in the least when I approached them. So everybody's been real good about it. They understand that it's a new thing for me too. So we just try to keep getting them as much publicity as we can, and don't want to do it by spinning off track or anything this week. But we'll see what happens.
Okay, make sure you get some video this time.
Yeah, I will. We're supposed to have a photographer there this time too, but that ended up falling through. So there's another gentleman there that takes some pictures, so I'll go see him. But we'll have a full production day at some point, and I should have the GoPro on the cart too. So I should have some sessions that we can post and watch those too.
Excellent, man. Excellent. I guess that brings us to the podium, to the top of the podium, and that's the upcoming charity event. Really excited about this, but also I guess it's being tempered by some of the latest events. So a little bit of background here is this season, in the spring and the fall, we've designated those as veterans charity races. We had talked about sorry, I had a message pop in there. It threw me off. We had talked about going to a different group because we've had some issues with DAV, or Disabled American Veterans, not with the association themselves. I think it was probably a little bit with the GoFundMe. The GoFundMe sites we had selected maybe weren't the right ones. I don't know, but so anyways, we have been looking at other options. Anyways, because Joe Halter's been getting tied up with a lot of different groups, so that support the veterans. But the one that's really we talked about was Mission 22, a great organization. 22 veterans take their life every day. Very, very sobering information. We were about to make a decision on this when last week you had some unfortunate news. I don't know if you want to just talk about that.
Yeah, so it was just a tough week for our family, and I'll mention this just because of the timeline, but Penny Lee lost her grandma, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday prior. And it wasn't totally unexpected. She had been going downhill, but we had a viewing and a funeral at the end of the week, and so we had the funeral Friday, and Friday night we didn't find out about this until Saturday. So Penny Lee's got a friend that she actually is she's one of the teachers at her school. She's known her for a long time though, and her husband and I have gotten to be real good friends, and through that. His name's Charlie, and I got to know his brother Chris through Charlie, and Ashley was I thought it was very kind of her, waited until Saturday morning to let Penny Lee know, because she knew she was going through a loss of her own on Friday, but Ashley called Penny Lee Saturday morning to talk with her and let her know that Chris, who was a veteran, he was a Marine, had committed suicide. And it was really shocking. I mean, he's a few years younger than I am, and it just knowing Chris, you hear people say this when this kind of situation happens, tragic as it is, that you'd have never known. Like, you never known they were going through something, and that's very much how I felt. Chris was funny, bubbly, he was the nicest guy in the room any given time, and it was really shocking, and frankly still is. Like it's just hard to imagine, because of that. You just never would have known. He always just seemed like such a happy guy. And I told you at one point, but the first time I ever spent a lot of time around Chris, Charlie and Chris and another buddy of theirs that was in the Army as well, all went camping. And those three knew each other real well, and I knew Charlie, right? So Charlie was driving, and I needed to drive. We were carrying kayaks, and so we were getting ready to head down the road. I was just going to follow him, and Chris, he said, "Oh, I'm going to ride with you. You don't need to ride alone." Like, just not because he wanted anything. He just was making sure I had company, and he just kind of took care of people like that. And just a warm, welcoming. He was an instant friend when you'd meet him. And very, very, very tragic situation. Obviously, Charlie is in the Army National Guard. He's a Black Hawk mechanic, so he works here locally at the airport typically, but does get deployed from time to time. And when this happened, he was stationed in Kosovo. And so, obviously he got told by a commanding officer, and, they gave him a 10-day pass. And, it's hard on a lot of people. I know Charlie and his brother were, I think of me and my best buddies. They were brothers, but they were best buddies too. And, I'm really at a loss for words. Like, I just don't know what all these different people who knew Chris in different ways, I don't know what they're going through. He's leaving behind a wife. It's just tragic. And, you all I can say is, the people you care about, whether they seem like they're doing fine or not, don't wait to reach out to them. Don't, check on people, or just have a conversation. Like, it's the best thing you can do. It's good for you too. I mean, you have to maintain those relationships, and it's not by, liking their Facebook posts.
No, it's yeah, it really sort of brought it to reality, I guess. 22 is a number. But when you start to know somebody who is one of those numbers, it takes on a whole different level. So the charity event is Super Dirt Week, and we've been pumped about this for a while. Dean Reynolds has set up the format. It's pretty much duplicate to the way they run it. It will be a memorial in honor of your buddy Chris. So it'll be 3 nights. It's Tuesday. Geez, I got to get those dates right. 19th to 21st, I think it is, of April. So it's not, if this is on Sunday, you're looking at this, it's next week. And
I think it's the 20th through the 22nd.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah. It'll be
I don't have my notes in front of me. I apologize. But it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There's a early bird up until midnight the following Sunday after you've seen this, to the Sunday before the race. So it's going to be 358s and big blocks, 2 different divisions. They'll follow the whole dirt format. So on the Tuesday night, what we'll have qualifying, which is a big deal, because the top 6 from each of those qualifying divisions, they lock in. They lock into the top 6 spots in the feature, in the final. So big deal on qualifying. I right there, I know I don't have a prayer, but there's a lot of guys, and qualifying could make you or break you. And then there's 3. Dean's called them heats, but they're almost like all little mini features. They're all 20 laps. I know Andy Piercefield and Hein will be really busy on Tuesday night, because I think there's going to be like 9 sessions, because we got to set these up as different sessions, pre-gridded. So there'll be a qualifying session, and then there'll be 3 heats for each of those divisions. The top 6, the 20 lap heats, they'll have cautions, everything, and the top 6 from each of those will qualify for the final. So that'll give you 24 cars, and then we'll also have a veterans race that night. With the same, it'll be for the 358s, and the top guy in there that doesn't qualify for the final will get a provisional spot. So That's Tuesday night. Wednesday there'll be two B mains for each division. So you'll be in either one or the other. Top three from each of those will qualify. That night we'll also have the pole scramble. So those six the six time trial guys that qualified directly, they'll have a 10-lap heat to determine their starting order for the final. And then the final night will be, the two finals. The 358s will be a 75-lap feature, and the big blocks will be 100 laps. So it's all going to take place at Charlotte. It's all fixed setups, open to anybody with an iRacing account. So the early bird, the regular admission is $15 for one division, $20 for both. The early bird up till Sunday will be $10 for one division, $15 for both. So get in early, and again, remember, all this money is going, especially all the drivers' money goes directly to Mission 22. So if you can donate more, donate. It's all for a good cause. Mission 22's goal is to get down to zero, and it's like Joe Halter says, even if we can just save one life, it's all worth it. So it's really, really important. There's lives here being affected, and if we can just have any kind of positive effect on any people. I know Joe's got a bunch of promotional. Joe Halter's got a bunch of promotional videos from Mission 22, and they're a couple made me sit back and just they hit pretty hard. So they're doing great work, and can't say enough about them. So even if you don't regularly run 358s, come on out and support this. If you want to sponsor it. Like our expenses are pretty low. It's mostly the payout money, and anything over and above that will go to Mission 22. So it's a great cause, and we've raised $14,000 to date. So we know our guys can do it. So even if you don't normally drive a dirt modified, come on out, have some fun, and help out a great cause.
Yeah, and to me, this is a cool one too, and not to knock disabled American veterans at all, because they've been great.
No.
But I know Mission 22 has been involved with iRacing and sim racing for a little while, so there's a natural, I think, cohesion between us and I think you and I talked about, like, we really want to we've got such a great relationship with the Steve King Foundation. It'd be great to kind of have a similar thing with Mission 22. So please make your donation, and I'm sure they're going to be super grateful. But if you have a chance to shout them out or things like that, do that too. Let them know that we're putting on a race for them or whatever. Like it's a good match for us, because they do have a foot in sim racing already, and I think we can form a pretty natural partnership and do bigger things each time we work with them.
Yeah, and again, if you know any veterans, just do a check, especially if you're a veteran yourself. I know there's guys in our league. I've seen it firsthand, and there's a guy that's a veteran in the league, and he hasn't shown up for a few days or a week, and there's other guys that are doing health checks, just make sure everything's okay, and which is cool. I mean, that's it's just can't say enough all those guys and everything they've done, and truly the sacrifices. When your head and life gets screwed up like that, that's just it's unacceptable. We got to help these people. So just a great cause. Should be a great event. We've been pumped about this. I don't mean to be too much of a downer, but it is a great cause. And but we've been pumped about this event ever since Dean talked about it last season, and I know he's excited about it happening, and it should be good. Just everybody get out there and support it. It's going to be a good time, and lots of door prizes and everything else. So it's always a good time.
Well, and like you're saying, the format, people kind of were really excited after, even before and after our last Knoxville Nationals, because I think we kind of nailed the format. So that was the thought of going with Super Dirt Week, because it's obviously a big event that people are familiar with. So we're trying to get as close as we can, and Dean was very helpful in kind of getting the format together. But I think it'll be unique enough that it'll be entertaining just in that sense. I think like what happened with Knoxville, you didn't have to run well to enjoy the format, because it's just a little bit different, and I think it's the same thing, because I'm at least I'm hoping so, because I'm sure I probably won't run well, and but I still want to enjoy it. So
it's I know the Knoxville was by far, I think, our most popular format
for sure,
and we're hoping that this one's going to be right up there with it. Like I say, the Tuesday night, the man behind the curtain. I'll be scrambling to keep all those sessions. And ask for everybody's patience on that night. Watch the broadcast so you know when the sessions come up, because it might be a little bit chaotic, but we'll learn from it and we'll get better. But I can't wait. It's going to be a big challenge, that's for sure, just to pull it all off. So,
and I apologize if I'm asking you something that you've already said, but do you know who's broadcasting which night, or do we know that yet?
Yeah, it's our regular crew. So and Andy, like Extreme E-Speed, will be doing Tuesday. Joe Halter and Got Your Six Racing Network will have Wednesday, and Marty Zakala will have Thursday. And I know Marty's super pumped because he lives for the dirt mods, and so he's been pumped about this for a while. So it wouldn't surprise me if Marty showed up all 3 nights just to help out, because it's that's the way the guy is. So yeah. It should be good, and I'm really looking forward to it. So
I'm glad they all get a chance too. Like that was I didn't want anybody to get left out, so they'll all get their night. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, they all deserve their night,
for sure.
And
yep,
they've been doing just a bang up job, and Joe and Andy get better every week, and they still trip over a few things. I was watching the race this past Wednesday. I don't know how many people, if they noticed it. It should be a trivia question or something. But when they went to Victory Lane, actually, I didn't notice it myself. Andy sent me a message, says, check out Victory Lane. And so I look at Victory Lane, and he superimposed Cool Ray over the signage that was behind. So it's pretty cool.
That's funny.
So these guys are always coming up with different ideas, and Andy with his 50-50 draws and all that sort of stuff. It's a hoot. So just enjoying all those guys, and it should be a great event. It should be a great event. So I don't know if you got anything else, or if that's where we're at.
No, I actually got to get back out and crank on the cart a little bit more. So I'm about to take off and do that now. So I think we leave it here.
Yeah, I got to. I leave in the morning, and I'm hoping to get back in time to make the 1:30 pickup series. So we'll see. I don't want to be speeding down the highway to do that, but
that's good practice, man.
Yeah. So anyhow, buddy. Sorry about the loss, and hopefully we can honor his memory, with this event, and that his family might get a bit out of this. Just that we'll pay our respects, and it should be a good event, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I can tell you that I obviously asked permission, because I didn't want to do anything without their blessing. And when I mentioned it to Charlie and his wife, they both were, kind of floored that we were offering that. And they said, make sure we get links, when the broadcast is going to be live and stuff, because the whole family will watch it. So
I will admit right here, I'll mention it, but so now we're at Charlotte. It's a pretty wide track. You know where I'm going with this. I really want to do the 4 wide missing man. But with those wobbly wheel dirt mods,
maybe we'll do do a 3 wide. That might be a better option.
Yeah. I think we'll have to figure that out. But anyhow, it's we want to do something for sure to to pay tribute, and looking forward just to a great event, and getting everybody's involvement in the community coming together for this. So, anyways, just looking forward to it, and. If you haven't signed up by now when you're seeing this, follow. It's on Facebook, and there's a webpage too. Just go to our charity on the the webpage, and it'll step you through all the steps you got to take. There's 3 steps. The one is you need to donate. It'll be to PayPal. We're going to just send it to our PayPal. We have a special charity account that's only for charities. So the PayPal will go there. Then you need to register, sign up, so we know who you are and some information on you. And then once we know you've made your donation and we've accepted your registration, we'll send you an invite to the league, and just need to accept that invite, and then go from there. Yeah. So can't wait.
Yep. So it's right around the corner. Like Roger said, it's not, if you're watching this on Sunday, it's Tuesday through Thursday. So it's a week and 2 days from today, which is Sunday the 10th. So that starts the 20th. I'm doing some bad math. Just forget everything I just said. It's on the website, c2crl.com. Go there. It's on our Facebook page. You can get it from there, because I'm clearly not reliable at the moment.
It's the 19th. I was right.
Okay. Well, I got to go back and adjust the poster then. Yeah. Daggone it. I don't know how I did that. Anyway.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, we'll be back here for episode 71 of the Pitside podcast. Next week, I'll have some updates from you from the race, and we'll have lots of new information for you then, too. So we'll see you then.
Drive safe, everybody.